Hey guys, we're here with a new kind of thing on our channel. What this is my tryout battle tournament thing for the NPL. It's another competitive draft format league similar to the GPSL if you guys saw that on my channel. And this is hosted by Sheerforce. His link will be down in the description to his YouTube channel. But basically the way this works is that they got a bunch of applicants for this season, and they put us all into a tournament. So the way the tournament works is we have four people in each division, and then everybody will play everybody else in that division once, and whoever has the best record will be moving on to an 8-man tournament. And then there are 4 spots open in the not in the GPSL, excuse me. In the NPL, available to people who do well in the tournament, who win the tournament, or they're recognized by the higher-ups of the NPL to be, yes, this guy's a good battler, we want him in our league. So, yeah. The way the division worked was we got a roster of 9 Pokemon. There was no draft, so you will see some repeat Pokemon across different teams. So, yeah, there was no draft. And we each got 9 Pokemon, obviously bringing a team of 6 to battle each week. So this video is to explain my team of 9 and give you some reasons why I picked them. So the way it was built was we got 1 Mega, 2 OUs, 2 UUs, 2 RUs, and 2 NU and below Pokemon. The Mega I decided to go with was Mega Blastoise. Now, Mega Blastoise is a pretty awesome Mega, even though it's kind of underappreciated in my opinion. It's one of the best UU Megas, absolutely. But you don't see it too often used in OU format, and then it's not very common in League format either. But all the different moves that Mega Blastoise gets, it's hard to find a dedicated switch into everything. With an incredible base 135 special attack and access to Water Stab, Aura Sphere, Dark Pulse, Flash Cannon, Ice Beam. That's all you really need. But just in case, you got things like Signal Beam. You could even run a physical variant with Fake Out and Aqua Jet for priority. It gets EQ. Outrage, I guess. That's cool. And in addition, it gets Rapid Spin. So it's a great form of hazard removal. Definitely something I was missing from the GPSL. My GPSL team was a Rapid Spinner. I figured having Defoggers was going to be enough, but alas, it was not. So, in addition, Mega Blastoise can be EV'd to be a bulky variant. Base 120 defense and 115 special attack, backed up by a decent HP stat of 79. That's pretty hard to OHKO and 2-hit KO from most things. Overall, Mega Blastoise is just a really good mon, and it's really versatile, bulky. It can be made to a bulky water type, and it can be made to an offensive water type that has very few switch-ins. The first thing I immediately thought of that can switch into the stereotypical Mega Blastoise set being Water Stab, Ice Beam, Aura Sphere, Dark Pulse. The first thing I thought of that can switch into that is a Zoom and nobody ended up drafting a Zoom so that's perfect for us. So moving on to our OU team members, we got kind of them in tangent with one another because they form a really good core. We got Jirachi and Togekiss. We'll go over Jirachi first. Obviously, you guys saw Grant use this in the GPSL, and it did wonders. Serene Grace Ironhead is irritating. And in addition, Jirachi gets so many different moves. Things like T-Wave for speed control, U-turn for initiative, Stealth Rock, and a huge variety of coverage moves. And with base 100 stats across the board, it can be run physical or special. I'm not limited to just running Ironhead all the time. If I need to, I can run a special variant with Flash Cannon if my opponent has a lot of physical walls or something along those lines. Usually you'll see this thing choice scarfed in standard play, but that's not necessarily the truth in league play because it can be made to be bulky. It's, again, a base 100 mon. And a steel type is excellent to have on your team because it starts the very popular Steel Fairy Dragon Core, which a lot of different teams like to utilize. You guys saw that on my team last year with Latios, Clefable, Skarmory, or I didn't mean last year, but in the GPSL, with Latias, Clefable, Skarmory. That's a really solid Fairy Dragon Steel Core, because there isn't much that can hit all three of those things. In addition, we got our other OU pick being Togekiss. Now, not Super Low, sorry, Serene Grace. In addition, Serene Grace Togekiss with Air Slash is, again, the same function as Serene Grace Iron Head from Jirachi. Just a little bit more power behind it with the base 120 special attack. Togekiss is also a really good Fairy type, something that is really valued in the League format. Excuse me. But not only is Air Slash Serene Grace incredible, we get the best Fairy stab it gets is Dazzling Gleam, no Moonblast, unfortunately. But it gets set up with Nasty Plot. It gets reliable recovery in the form of Roost. It gets T-Wave. It gets Heal Bell, and I believe it gets Wish as well. Yes, so does Jirachi. I neglected to mention that Jirachi gets Wish and Healing Wish. And Togekiss also gets Heal Bell. So if I need it to be, I can make it into a Cleric. And overall, the Togekiss Jirachi core is going to be really hard to stop. Because worst case scenario, if I'm getting my butt kicked, I can just go into either Jirachi or Togekiss and start praying for some hacks. I don't want to have to rely on hacks, but I want to take the NPL very seriously. I really want to get into this league, so I want to do my best, and I'm going to make sure my team is structured in the best possible way to make that happen. So moving on to our first UU pick, we picked up Heracross. Now, something again I lacked in the GPSL was Bug Stab. Bug Stab, I didn't realize how important it was until I had to fight a Malamar. There's not much that can deal with a Malamar. Nobody drafted Malamar, but still, having a Bug Stab is pretty useful because there is a lot that resists Bug, but not a lot that resists Bug and Fighting, in addition to all the different coverage moves that Heracross gets. It's a really offensive mon, obviously the most common set being Scarf Moxie, but this thing also gets Guts, which gives me a really reliable Scald switch in, because if it were to burn me, the opposing mon's Scald, I just get my attack boosted instead. And then I can start firing off some close combats, some Mega Horns, some knockoffs, some Earthquakes, some Stone Edges. A lot of different moves. Shadow Claw. I don't know why I run Shadow Claw over Night Claw, or Night Claw. What? Knock Off. It's been a long day, guys. My apologies for sounding all not talky. It can set up with Swords Dance. It gets Bulk Up if I wanted to run that. The obvious downside about this is the really glaring quad weakness to flying. But Jirachi and Amon we got later on in the draft really helped with that weakness, because there isn't a lot that's weak to flying on my team other than Heracross. So that's really nice. Moving on to the other UU pick we got, making his return from our GPSL team, is Arcanine. Now, you guys have seen me use Arcanine, and I will admit, when I first drafted Arcanine, I realized maybe I should have gotten Entei. Maybe I should have gotten Darmanitan. But as I got later into the season, I realized how valuable Arcanine is, because Entei really, what it's good at doing is clicking Sacred Fire. Darmanitan is really good at clicking Flare Blitz and occasionally clicking U-Turn. But Arcanine can do so much. With Intimidate for its ability, it can be made to be bulky. But in addition, I can run excuse me. I can run Flash Fire or Justified to counter team an opponent's really good Fire Stab or really good Dark type moves like Pursuit or something along those lines. Arcanine also gets Extreme Speed, which, as you guys know, is the best priority in the game, arguably. Besides, I would give you maybe Fake Out or Gale Wings is really nice as well. Reliable recovery in the form of Morning Sun, so as long as I'm not facing a Sand team, we're good to go in that department. We got Will-O-Wisp, we got Toxic, we got Wild Charge for coverage, Iron Head for coverage, Close Combat for coverage, Crunch for coverage, and a whole variety of Fire Stabs. Overheat, Fire Blast, Flare Blitz, Fire Fang, Flame Charge if I want to start boosting my speed, Roar to get rid of setup mods. You guys know what Arcanine does. You guys have seen me use it before. I'm very comfortable with Arcanine. I'm glad it's back on our team. Moving on to our two RU picks. This one might raise a few questions, but we had this draft, or not this draft, but this tournament a while ago before any of the new suspect tests happened. So out of RU, we did get Tyrantrum before it got bumped up to BL2. So at the time we got this, it was RU, so it's still good to go. This completes our Fairy Dragon Steel Core in the form of Tyrantrum, Togekiss, and Jirachi. In addition, there is not a lot that wants to switch into Tyrantrum. Base 121 attack, Rock Head, Head Smash. That's all I could ever ask for out of a mod. And you're going to give me Dragon Dance to boot? There's not much that wants to take that. And things that resist Rock, Tyrantrum gets really good coverage to cover. Dragon Stab, of course, but in addition, I can run things like Crunch, the Elemental Fangs, Iron Head. Superpower and Zen Headbutt are also incredible. And even if I don't want to run the D-Dance set, I can run maybe a bulky set with like Toxic, Stealth Rock, Roar. Excuse me, guys. I am a little bit sick, so I know I get sick a lot. It's this darn Nevada weather. I'm allergic to anything that grows here. Not my fault. But overall, Tyrantrum is a really good wall breaker. It's not the fastest thing in the world, but it can be made to be fast if I want to run things like Dragon Dance or Rock Polish. Moving on to our last, or not our last pick, but our Umon, another returning member from our GPSL team. We have Rotom. Now, what's cool about Rotom is, again, the same thing happened when I was picking out my GPSL team. I noticed I'm missing two of the most important stabs in the game, being Grass and Electric. I immediately looked at Rotom. The Rotoms are always so valuable because they can be made to be bulky or they can be made to be specially offensive. Pivoting with Volt Switch, also kind of repelling away physical attackers with the possibility of Will-O-Wisp. Speed control in the form of Thunder Wave is also really nice, but and Electric Grass Stab there's not very much that wants to switch into that. And once again, if there is something on my opponent's team that does want to switch into that, I can prepare for it. You guys know what Rotoms do. They're pretty copy and paste, but what's cool about Rotom is its Grass Stab. No other Rotom form gets Leaf Storm, so that's always nice to have. Overall, you guys have seen me use Rotom before. It can be made to be offensive with Scarf or Specs. It can be made to be defensive with Will-O-Wisp and Volt Switch. Pain Split for recovery. Overall, the Rotoms are just really solid. So, moving on to our two Umons, we got our first one being Wheezing. Now, this team struggled a little bit against Fairy types, mostly just because Tyrantrum and Heracross do not appreciate it. So, having more Fairy resistances than weaknesses is always a good thing. So we got Wheezing. Now with, in addition to Arcanite and Jirachi, Wheezing makes our third Fairy resistance and is also really nice for the team. Tyrantrum and Arcanite, as well as Jirachi, are not appreciating ground-type moves, but Wheezing, Rotom, and Togekiss are, except for maybe like Mold Breaker Drill. So that's really nice to have. Wheezing is a pretty good physical wall. It's probably one of the best physical walls out of NU, at least, besides maybe Steelix or something like that. But it gets stab poison type moves. It gets fire type coverage, as well as Dark Pulse and Thunder type, or not Thunder type, Electric type coverage. Will-O-Wisp and Toxic Spikes are always nice to have. Pain Split for recovery, Destiny Bond, and Explosion if I want to get cheeky. Overall, Wheezing is just a really good wall. Now, the last thing I was missing on this team, well, there's a lot of things I'm missing on this team. It's really hard to fill all the gaps I need on a good team with just 9 mods. So, things I needed. I would like another Stealth Rock user. I don't want to have to force Tyrantrum or Jirachi to be running Stealth Rock every week. I also would like a Spin Blocker, meaning a Ghost type. And something that I also would like something that could be bulky, could be offensive, something that's pretty versatile. So what I went with ultimately was actually Kecleon. Oh, excuse me, hopefully I muted that or something. But what's really unique about Kecleon is its ability Protean. Protean is what got Greninja banned to Ubers. What it does is it changes my type to whatever move I use. And because Kecleon gets such a wide variety of moves, I'm essentially every type. The only thing slowing Kecleon down and what keeps it down in NU is the fact that it only has 40 base speed. But that could be easily patched up with priority in the form of Shadow Sneak and Sucker Punch. If I wanted to use Shadow Sneak, that's an instant spin blocker, because I get priority with that. Rapid Spin doesn't have priority. So I can go for a Shadow Sneak as they're trying to go for a Rapid Spin to get rid of hazards, and it's gone. It's another Stealth Rock user. Reliable recovery in the form of Recover. It can use knockoff. Knockoff is always great to have. Fake out pressure. It can run disable if I want to get cheeky. There's a lot of different moves it can get. You'll mostly see this run as physical, but 60 special attack isn't the worst thing in the world. Although 90 physical attack is much better. But overall, this thing is going to be really nice. It's a little bit of everything mod. I guess I can kind of compare it to Latias a little bit. Way worse than Latias, but Latias was a little bit of everything kind of mod. Bulky, could be offensive, a lot of different moves. That's what I liked about having Latias on my GPSL team. Of course, I would have rather had Latios, but you guys know that story already. So Kecleon is another provider of that sort of thing. So I feel like this is a really solid team. A really good Fire, Water, Grass core with Mega Blastoise, Arcanite, Rotom. Really good Fairy Dragon Steel core with Togekiss, Jirachi, and Tyrantrum. A really good wall in the form of Wheezing, Status Absorber with Heracross, and a good versatile Mon with Kecleon. So that's my 9 Mons for these tryout matches you guys will see for the NPL. Hopefully you guys will start seeing them come up more. Because at the time I am recording this, we are starting a new project. I won't say what it is until you guys have seen all the NPL battles. So have at it. I hope you guys did enjoy this video, and I will see you in the next one. Later.